After a painful overtime loss to DeMar DeRozan and the Sacramento Kings, we got to look at what's going on with the Dallas Mavericks. I'm not sure what's happening or where they're trying to go, but it seems like they just undid decades and decades of culture building to essentially go in a different direction. Now, obviously, we don't know the future. We don't know what it'll look like in 3 years, 5 years, even next year. But what they've done recently has just been completely out of character for the organization. Last year, Dallas Mavericks made it to not only the Western Conference Finals and won, they went to the NBA Finals. And while, yes, they lost to the Boston Celtics, I find it interesting that the organization doesn't seem to value the finals appearance. This is, I think, a problem with ring culture is you get into the finals means that you did really well. Like you did as good as you could possibly do without being perfect. The only team that can say they were pretty much perfect last year is Boston because they won it all. So I don't get why you would completely change the organization the next season. And I know you might be thinking, what changes that they made? What are they doing differently? It seems like the ownership is going in a completely different direction, right? So first of all, let's start off with the biggest thing, the Luka trade. Like, I think everybody's mad at Nico, the Mavs GM, because he traded Luka. And like he's the one that signed off on it. And he went to the press conference like, I did it, it's on me, and I made this decision. Me and Rob knew, nobody else knew, and I called Rob. So all the fans are hating him, which I understand, I get that. But I don't think he acted alone. As much as you want to say, yeah, it was me, I made this move, I did it, nobody else knew anything, somebody else had to know. You don't trade a superstar, one of the biggest global superstars we have in the world right now, without anybody else knowing. Like, could you imagine trying to keep that secret? If you have the power to make a trade of this magnitude, do you really think you cannot tell a soul outside of one of the person you're doing a trade with? I don't believe that. I just find that really hard to believe that nobody else in the organization knew except for this guy, and then he made that move. And then to kind of make it worse, the whole fake story of, yeah, well, people are trying to kill me, so I had to have a police escort, and I need to have a security team and all of that stuff. One of the Dallas writers went to like research this to go and ask the police if it was reported or whatever, and it wasn't even reported. So again, I don't think it's just Nico working alone. I don't think it's just him. I think that the ownership in cahoots with Nico decided to make this kind of move, and they're going a different direction. And this kind of goes back to, you remember on in Michael Jordan's documentary, everybody talked about the Bulls GM Krause and how he wanted to take all the credit. Jerry wanted all the credit. He wanted all the credit for putting the team together. I think that might be what we're seeing here. It's like the ownership and the GM and like the new front office are kind of, because Mark Cuban left. Mark Cuban is out of there. So I think the new front office is kind of like, we want credit for building our own team and doing our own thing. We know Mark was here, he did whatever, but we want to do it ourselves. We want to do our own thing. And while you kind of understand, it's also like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you try to, it's literally almost start from scratch when you trade away the superstar. You got Anthony Davis back, and now because you rushed him back, he's already hurt and might need surgery and could be done for the year. You're the 11th, 10th seed. You're down there at the bottom. You'll be fighting for a play-in spot, best case scenario. So I just don't get why you would make this move now. Like, maybe it's a little more of a conversation if you traded him in the offseason, or, it could be after the draft. It could have been, the first day of free agency, something like that. Then it's like, okay, maybe you got some other big moves you want to make. It's a conversation. But you making this trade middle of the season before the All-Star break, like trade deadline, here you go. That's crazy. You can never justify that. And it's such a crazy move again. Nico didn't do this alone. And then to make all of this worse, the smear campaign they've gone on to kind of trash Luka has been insane. Like, we don't see a lot of players get bashed like this. Like, this is crazy at this magnitude. We see all kind of stories coming out about his work ethic and how he's overweight. My first picture I saw of Luka getting off the plane in LA with Rob Pelinka, he didn't look 270 pounds. Now, granted, he is tall, but he didn't look overweight, like super overblown. I don't know. It just seemed like a crazy thing to say. And even then, if we look at Luka's injury history and his minutes played, he plays a lot of basketball. A ridiculous amount of basketball. Because when he's not playing in the NBA, he's playing internationally. Like, he's playing for his country and all of that stuff. Like, we just had the Olympics. He played in that. if I'm not mistaken. He's playing nonstop. And then every time you turn on the Mavs game the last 2 years, he's playing hurt. Wrapped up here, bandage here, something wrapped up there. I don't get how you see that guy going through that for your organization and then say, we don't need this guy around. That's crazy. That's really disrespectful to him, to be honest. And like his trainers and stuff, they left Dallas, now they're in LA. And it makes sense. I would want to leave too if I'm seeing the way you treated this guy. Yeah, he's just lazy. He's terrible. The Mavericks governor, Patrick Dumont, came out and had a bunch of remarks about how they're changing the culture and they want defense and people who work hard. And he listed Shaq as somebody that works hard. Again, I am a diehard Laker fan. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Shaq worked hard. And I know you're not going to believe this, but this is 100% true. My stepdad was the football coach at LA Southwest College, where the Lakers used to practice back when they were winning all the championships. This was before they moved to South Bay and all that stuff. And when I was younger, I was going up there all the time because he was coaching football, but I was trying to do basketball. So I would always try to sneak into the gym. After practices, I would literally see Kobe in there working out. I never saw Shaq in there working out. Now, it's not saying he wasn't and he never did it. I never saw it, but I saw Kobe with my own 2 eyes working out. I swear on my life I did. And what makes Patrick Dumont's comments even crazier is he mentioned all of these other stars, but he didn't mention Dirk Nowitzki. Like, how do you not mention your superstar that's won a championship for his organization, the only one you have? And that right there kind of further solidifies my point that we might be seeing a complete changing of the guard, where they're like, we're new here, we got this thing now, Mark Cuban's out the way, so whatever he did, we're scrapping at, we're doing our own thing. That's what all of this is kind of telling me. Because when you trash a guy the way they've trashed Luka, it's kind of crazy that they're like stepping on him this way. And I don't think that Luka has been that bad to where you want to say he's just this terrible player. I don't think he's been that bad. On the defensive side, he has been abysmal. In the finals, I think he was bad, but I also put some of that on coaching because he was never put in the right position. His effort was bad, but then sometimes the coaching just wasn't there to make adjustments to him being hunted and all of that stuff. So I don't know what's going on in Dallas. And the last thing on this, I think if you're a Mavericks fan, I'm 100% okay. Not like you need my permission, but I understand if you want to switch teams. Like, I'm not one of those people that thinks you have to be a fan of a team forever, for life. I don't agree with that. Like, once the organization shows you that they don't care about your fandom, like they kicked out 2 fans that were at the game protesting who were like, fire Nico, and they put the signs up. Some dude said it on a microphone. Then they go and kick him out. You kick this guy out like he's not a supporting fan who bought tickets to be here. He's probably bought a jersey or a bunch of other stuff, spent thousands upon thousands of dollars with your organization. So because he has an opinion you don't like, you kick him out? That's the worst way to handle it. Because now if I was a Mavs fan, I would already kind of be like, all right, this team is going in the wrong direction. And you traded Luka, I would want to get out of there already. You kicking fans out for saying you should fire the guy that did it? I'm definitely done. Because now you don't respect me as a person. Like, and I know they said some other stuff like the guys were yelling obscenities, they were cursing or something. I think they're trying to clean it up. But it really just looks like the Mavericks are kind of lost. Like, they seem like the kind of team that's, okay, we didn't win it all last year, so we got the perfect time to get rid of this guy and start doing our own thing. These new owners are like, we're trying to do our own thing, we're trying to make these moves. And I hear a lot of rumblings about them moving the team to Vegas or something like that. I'm not sure about that. But, with them trading Luka, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, man. If they either went to Vegas or came to Seattle. That wouldn't surprise me now. Because seeing the way that these people are moving, they don't really care. Man, it would have been smart to keep the superstar while you do that. But if they're trying to start from scratch and they don't want to have to pay somebody like Luka $360 million, then again, all of it, the narratives start to make sense when you put all the pieces to the puzzle together. So let me know what you guys think. Are you a fan of the Mavericks? If you are, I'm going to pray for you, man, because AD's hurt, Gaffer went down, you lost Luka. Look, man, my condolences to you, dog. I know it's a rough season right now, but come on, the Lakers Nation. We'll support you, man. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time.